Doing their studies from home. Not necessarily easy for you, but for them, think about it. It's a really difficult way to learn. But grades are not all that are suffering. We know that the mental health of our students and our kiddos is a major concern. Dr. Regine Mouradian, pardon me for that. I like to pronounce people's names properly. Joins me now. Clinical psychologist, an author, a parent, someone who is got so much expertise in this area, and also, we should point out, an advocate in the area of mental health, which, by the way, this bleeds over into. First of all, Dr. Mouradian, thank you so much for being here. How are you, and how is your family?
Yes. Well, first, thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure. I think this is I think this is a topic, and I've been telling everyone that any person you speak to in the world, we're all feeling the same right now. I think if you're a parent, a professional, I think we're all feeling this, so to speak, burden and difficulties with distance learning.
So this thing that we wanted to drill down with you on is, you know, there is this push, right? We're hearing the efforts of getting kids back into the classrooms here in the Southland, in Los Angeles, and in the area around it. But of course, there's the primary concern about everybody staying safe, including the staff and the teachers and the students. But it's the drive to get kids back to instruction that is pushing, you know, the urge to get them back into the room. But you're concerned also about their sort of emotional and mental well-being and how it's being compromised. How is that playing out in our kids? What are you seeing?
Yeah, so like you said, Michaela, I mean, distance learning has been here almost a year. It's so hard to believe. And I've been seeing children's mental health deteriorating due to excessive screen time, decreased motivation. I'm seeing a lot of anxiety symptoms, depression-like symptoms, isolation. But the most is really the lack of socialization with their peers that has really impacted their mental health.
Well, how does that play out? What does that look like in a kid?
So, you know, you're seeing they're more withdrawn. They don't really want to socialize as much. Even kids who are we call them the social butterflies will report, you know, oh, I saw my friends at a park, but I just felt so fatigued afterwards. So I think, you know, they're not in practice anymore. Like,
yeah. It's a muscle for them, right? They're in the process of learning how to read faces and read expressions and interpret what that means. They're learning those social skills. And so to have that essentially paused, in a way, I mean, are you seeing some regression in a way?
Absolutely. I mean, even for my own kids, I'll hear them saying the word fatigue. I hear it from my clients. I'm also asking the question a lot, how do you feel about going back to school? Right now, what I'm doing a lot too is prepping kids emotionally and psychologically in returning into the classroom, kind of like how they're doing in some of the schools with the hybrid programs. I think that's so important.
Oh, let's talk about that. How can you help kids with that transition? What kind of prep work can parents and caregivers be doing right now?
Yes. So I know it's so, I mean, LA County is such a big county, and all schools are different, public and private. But I think, you know, just transition them slowly, you know, even if they're practicing social distancing safely and with a mask and meeting somebody at the park. I know we have cohorts of us meeting, you know, of course, safely, and just getting back into the motion of interacting socially, not so much the academic part, as much as them just being used to being back
with
in
people, right? Right. Having to interact and ask questions and listen, those active listening skills, all of those skills have likely, I mean, look, we adults are having a hard time with it. I can't even imagine kids who are just sort of, you know, baby giraffes they're still trying it all out.
Absolutely. I mean, like, you bring up an important point. I mean, I've been doing Zoom from home. I've been working from home. I love being around people, and I definitely feel that. So you bring up such an important point, because if we also as adults, we really miss being around our colleagues, around other people and professionals, friends. So we're all missing this. So imagine what kids are really going through. So parents really helping them transition slowly. Yes, kids may be a little bit resistant, but I think that really empowering them to do that will be helpful in the long run.
I was even thinking that you could use mealtime. I know that we all have different schedules, but most of us are at home, and if you're working from home, we are back to mealtime. Maybe that's an opportunity to practice some of that that social interaction, like even just sort of in a loving way engage your kids in conversation to, you know, to get that muscle strengthened up again.
Yes, absolutely. You bring up an important point because they are isolated. I mean, just think about it. They're in their room all day. So having, you know, just making the meal plans. I mean, we certainly have been doing it as a family. I'm a mom of 3. Dinner times are really the core time where you can communicate together, share emotions, feelings. How was your day? Parents sharing how their day was, or if it's a caregiver, grandparent, whoever is there in the home with them, to kind of create that conversation. And don't get intimidated if they don't want to share. Just keep on poking and asking.
Well, and the other big adjustment is the, you know, the real life in front of their eyes instead of the screens. I've noticed my eye strain in those little brains. The screen time, you're going to have to wean them off it, I imagine.
Yes, yes. I mean, and I used to call that device detox. You know, I used to talk so much about device detox, and now we're going to be having to transition to that. Absolutely.
We're probably in for a little bit of a bumpy road with our kiddos, and we should just prepare ourselves emotionally for that, aren't we?
Absolutely. Yes, we should. And, you know, the teachers, you know, I want to give them kudos. I mean, overall, they're doing their best. They're working around the clock more than ever. And so that's going to be really important to just keep that in mind and to work all together and to return safely so that everyone feels comfortable.
And give ourselves grace through the process because the return is going to be a bit of a challenge. And I feel like the teachers are going to get some hugs from parents who realize just how hard it is to be a teacher. I think there's going to be extra appreciation. I want to point out that you've got a great book that is so timely. It's called Frankie and His Homeschool Adventures. You can find it on her website at reginemouradian.com. I think this is right on time, Dr. Mouradian, right on time indeed. I'd love to have you back because I think this is a conversation that's going to be ongoing.
Thank you. Thank you, Michaela, for having me.
You stay safe.